Do you know about kind of like the behind the scenes, sort of like the 100 take scene?
Right.
So for one thing, unless this entire movie, every single scene, unless Shelley Duvall's performance, every single scene they had to do 100 times, I don't think doing
Damn
the
near.
stairwell, really, like every scene near 100 times?
No, maybe not always 100 times, but Kubrick basically, if Kubrick was shooting a shot or an angle, he probably was doing it at least 30 times.
Okay, but that's not 100 times. No, I understand. I understand
so
30.
If 30 is, but I'm saying, but like 30 to 40, no, but like 30 to 40 for every setup, if not twice that.
Yes. Okay.
Maybe all the way up to 100. Like that is exhaustive performance and exhaustive work. That is fucking crazy.
Yeah. Okay, but the way you put that. See, I always just thought it was that one scene that was the most...
No, that scene just famously made it all the way to 100.
Yeah.
That's the way Kubrick shot, man. That's the other side of him, is that we're talking about the movies that he's made, but he was kind of a fucking tyrant.
No, and that's kind of what I wanted to say, because I guess I sort of... Like that scene, the only thing that it really... The fact that they did it 100 times really only communicates the fact that now her eyes are poofier and more purple inconsistently from when the scene starts to like when the scene... Where eventually when it cuts from like Jack to her, you're like, wow, her eyes are like a lot more swollen than they were before. Like it's just... Like I guess, I don't know. I guess maybe then in that case... because she puts in such a good performance. I didn't realize every take was like that, though, where she was just literally being battered by the...
Most scenes were...
And that's a bummer to imagine, despite the fact that I love this performance. That's such a... Because I empathize, maybe he's just, as much as he's a tyrant and as much as it's terrible, and I actually don't think that's a healthy way to direct actors. I don't think directors should do that.
Right.
What I love about the performance is she's so much, like the entire time I'm watching it, I'm just like, holy fuck, this poor lady is being tormented. And she literally was being tormented. It's horrifying to imagine.
Right. But also, and I think that you're right, the thing that you're wrestling with is kind of the idea that is artists... I've been in situations on film sets where directors and crews and actors have actually been in the pocket together, working hard and doing uncomfortable, difficult things and understanding the trust that you have in each other. And that when people get, intense or loud or even physical, or the way people interact, that I've been in situations where there has been real trust and people are going to be like, we're going to do a thing that might make someone on the exterior feel uncomfortable, but we all know what we're getting ourselves into, and we have that trust with each other. And then sometimes you see where it's like maybe one person is crossing lines and just like trying to make an experience visceral, and that you ideally would want film sets to be able, but then you get shit where you're like, okay, who the fuck deserves 100 takes of that shit?
No one. And it's just, and I mean, as much as, and there are directors to this day, I know that, well, I don't know actually for certain, but it seems like something that, I've only directed one movie, but that's something that I would never do. Like, long before I got to that point, I'd be like, you know what? Apparently this is just not working. And I would just like move on to the next thing. But I guess he had the power to really, I actually worked with someone... I worked with a script supervisor, I believe, on the movie Hello, I Must Be Going, and I'm going to look up to see if I can find her name. And she famously, I believe, was the script supervisor, not famously, but she was the script supervisor on a couple of Kubrick's different movies.
Okay.
And she told me this story once where I believe, I don't know if it was 2001 Space Odyssey, but it fucking might have been, actually. She was basically telling me a story about how she was working on the set of 2001 Space Odyssey, and it was literally this thing where a decent amount of the shoot was spending like 4 hours driving to somewhere and like 2 hours filming.
Yep.
And then 4 hours driving back.
Exactly.
And that's the day. He reached a point where they were just like, do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's like what the stuff they did on The Revenant was. They were like, yeah, man, half, 2/3 of the day was hiking in and out to wherever we were shooting.
Yep. Oh my God.
And there are so many different modes of thought that people have on how many takes to do for things. There's, Clint Eastwood famously is like, if you got all your lines on the first take, you're wasting people's time if we're doing another. And
I know. There are the two
David
extremes.
Fincher is a guy who will do 20 to 40 takes of certain things. He is very meticulous.
Mm-hmm.
There's famous stories about how certain directors on certain Star Trek movies would like make William Shatner do like 20 takes of something because the first 12 to 15 takes were just way too big. And they needed to literally tire him out. And by the time they tired him out, he was giving a much more nuanced and varied performance, and that's the best performance they were getting. So there's always amazing, but again, no one deserves 100 fucking takes of being physically terrorized.
There's a balance to get a performance out of someone, like purposefully. There's always those types of things that you could do. But yeah, I agree, and I will say, I don't know if she worked on 2001 now, but Julie Robinson. And she was continuity on Full Metal Jacket. I thought she had told me she had some crew position on an earlier movie of Kubrick's, but she was the continuity person on Full Metal Jacket. So that must have been her real experience working as a scriptie for Kubrick, and maybe that's where she told me the story.
Right.
Yeah. But Julie Robinson, just wanted to mention her. Script supervisor on Hello, I Must Be Going. I was assistant to the director on that movie.